Somewhere in the Atlantic, there's an island with zero natural resources, sitting completely alone and directly in the path of the world's most violent hurricanes. By every rule of geography, this place should be empty. Instead, 60,000 people live here, richer than almost anywhere else on Earth. Beautiful beaches, hidden caves, billion-dollar secrets buried in plain sight. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how this happened. How can a place with nothing have everything? Most people hear Bermuda and picture the Caribbean. Palm trees, cruise ships, Jamaica's neighbor. That's wrong, completely wrong. Bermuda sits alone in the North Atlantic, closer to Canada than to any tropical island. The nearest land, Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, over 1,000 kilometers away. Sail east from Bermuda, and you won't touch land again until Morocco. Almost 5,000 kilometers of open, empty ocean. No neighboring islands, no chain to shelter it, no bridge to anywhere. And yet, on this lonely rock, 60,000 people live with one of the highest standards of living on the planet. No oil, no gold, no farmland worth mentioning, so where does the money come from? We'll get there, I promise. But first, you need to see what this island actually looks like, because it's nothing like you'd expect. What is Bermuda actually hiding beneath the surface? Bermuda sits inside the Sargasso Sea, the only sea on Earth with no land borders at all. It's held in place entirely by ocean currents. One of those currents, the Gulf Stream, pumps warm tropical water north, wrapping around Bermuda like an invisible blanket. That's why an island this far north feels almost tropical. The water here is so clear, visibility can reach 60 meters down. Coral reefs grow here, further north than anywhere else on the planet. And beneath those waters, over 300 shipwrecks rest on the seafloor. Centuries of ships that never made it past Bermuda's hidden reefs. Today, they're not tragedies anymore. They're coral gardens, some of the best wreck diving sites on Earth. Why is Bermuda's most famous beach not actually made of sand you'd expect? Horseshoe Bay Beach is pink. Genuinely, visibly pink. For years, people assumed it came from crushed red coral. The real answer is stranger. Tiny reef organisms called Homotrema rubrum, with red shells, get eaten by parrotfish. Their shells get crushed into microscopic fragments and mix into the white sand. That's the pink. Millions of tiny red shell fragments, ground down over centuries. And it's not just the beaches. Deep underground, Crystal Cave hides stalactites formed over 30,000 years, a glittering underground lake untouched by sunlight. What do you actually eat on a rock with no farmland? Here's something most people never think about. If Bermuda can't grow crops, what do people actually eat? The answer, almost everything is imported. Fish chowder laced with black rum and sherry peppers is the unofficial national dish. One of the few foods actually sourced from the island itself, straight from the surrounding ocean. Beyond that, restaurants serve dishes shipped in from across the world, arriving by cargo ship on a set schedule every week. An island that can't feed itself has turned importing into an art form. But food is one thing. Living here day to day is something else entirely. Why can you not rent a car in Bermuda, no matter how much money you have? Since 1951, Bermudian law allows each household exactly one car. Visitors, no matter who they are, cannot rent a private car at all. A rule most of the world hadn't even considered at the time. The result, narrow roads filled with scooters, not engines. Ferries gliding across water so clear it looks fake. A pace of life that feels decades removed from anywhere else. Why do Bermuda's most powerful men wear shorts to work? Walk through Hamilton, Bermuda's capital, and you'll see something odd. A man in a full blazer, dress shirt, tie, paired with knee-length shorts and tall socks. These are Bermuda shorts. Born in the late 1800s, when British officers had their uniforms shortened in the heat. By the 1920s, local businessmen adopted the look permanently. Today, it's formal office wear worn by bankers, government officials, even the Premier of Bermuda. Global finance, dressed in local identity. What does a normal day actually feel like here? No blaring car horns, no rushed morning traffic, just waves against limestone shore, the scent of salt air, and a community where most people have known each other since childhood. A wave to a neighbor, a conversation with a shopkeeper, a hand offered without being asked. At the end of the day, many return to the sea. A fishing line, a quiet boat ride, just sitting, watching the horizon. For Bermudians, the ocean was never a wall keeping them in. It's where a lifetime of memories lives. But behind this quiet life is one of the most aggressive, calculated financial machines on the planet. And that is where this story turns. Quick question before we go further is, if you had to build an entire economy with zero natural resources, what's the first industry you'd try? Drop your guess in the comments. I'll read the best ones out. And tell me, what time is it right now where you're watching this and which country you're joining from? I love seeing how far this reaches. Now, let's talk about how this tiny rock actually got rich. Because the real answer is not what you think.
How does an island with nothing to sell become one of the richest places on Earth? Bermuda tried farming first. It failed. The soil was too shallow, the island too small to compete with Virginia or the Caribbean. So they turned to the ocean, built the Bermuda sloop, a ship made from native cedar, faster than anything Europe had. For a while they dominated the salt trade and quietly state-sanctioned piracy, privateering, legally raiding enemy ships for profit. But that golden age ended. Privateering was outlawed. Bermuda was staring at economic collapse. Again, they needed something else, and the answer came from an unusual place, their own political status. Is Bermuda. That makes it legally unlike almost anywhere else. Bermuda is a British overseas territory, the oldest one in existence, but it governs almost everything itself. Its own parliament, dating back to 1620, its own premier, its own laws. Britain steps in only for defense and foreign policy. Everything else, Bermuda writes on its own terms. That included one very specific decision: zero corporate income tax. Protected by British stability, but free to set its own financial rules. That combination created one of the most powerful loopholes in the global economy. So what did they actually sell, if not goods? They sold something nobody else could offer at scale: expertise in disaster. This is reinsurance. Insurance for insurance companies. When a hurricane devastates Florida, an insurance company can't always cover every claim alone. So they buy their own protection from a reinsurer. And the world's biggest catastrophe reinsurers are based in one place: Hamilton, Bermuda. Today, This tiny island handles more than a third of the entire global reinsurance market, manages assets worth roughly $1.5 trillion, and after major U.S. hurricanes, Bermudian reinsurers have covered close to 30% of all reconstruction costs. Here's the part that sounds impossible. Why does climate change make Bermuda richer? As ocean temperatures rise, hurricanes are getting stronger, more frequent, more expensive. Logically, that should hurt a country whose business is paying disaster claims. Instead, it does the opposite. Rising risk means insurance companies panic and need more protection, driving demand and prices higher. Bermuda's reinsurers, armed with the world's top climate modelers, price that risk with precision most competitors can't match. The more dangerous the planet becomes, the richer this island gets. An island barely the size of Manhattan is now the financial shock absorber for the entire world's worst days. But none of this explains the one thing that made survival possible in the first place. And for that, we have to go back to where this story actually began. Do you get drinking water on an island that has none? Bermuda is made almost entirely of porous limestone. Rain falls and disappears straight through the ground within minutes. No rivers, no lakes, no usable groundwater at all. So the solution had to come from above. Every roof in Bermuda is built in white limestone terraces, stepped almost like staircases lying sideways. Rain runs down each step, channels through narrow grooves, and flows into a tank hidden beneath every home. It's written into Bermudian law. Every new home must have a water tank sized to match its roof. No wells, no rivers, just a roof, engineered over centuries to catch the sky. Why did the Spanish call this island cursed and avoid it for 100 years? Bermuda sat completely empty for nearly a century after it was first spotted in 1505. No native population had ever reached it. The isolation was simply too extreme. Spanish sailors who tried approaching had their ships torn apart on hidden reefs. Survivors who made it ashore reported hearing demonic shrieking echoing through the forest at night. They named it the Isle of Devils and abandoned it completely. The demons were later found to be the mating calls of native seabirds, mixed with the grunts of wild pigs left behind by earlier shipwrecks. But the myth held for 100 years. Nobody wanted this rock. So what finally forced people to stay? In 1609, an English ship called the Sea Venture was sailing toward the new colony of Jamestown, carrying 150 colonists. A massive hurricane caught them at sea. Rather than sink in open water, the ship's admiral deliberately drove the vessel onto Bermuda's reefs. Every single person survived. They expected a cursed wasteland. Instead, they found something almost beautiful. 10 months later, having built 2 new ships from the wreckage and native cedar, most of them sailed on to Virginia, but a few stayed behind. By 1612, Bermuda was officially colonized, not because it was easy, not because it had resources, but because a group of shipwrecked strangers looked at an impossible rock and decided it was worth staying for. So why do 60,000 people really live here? 400 years later, that same decision still defines this island. No water of its own, solved with architecture. No economy of its own, solved with the ocean, then with risk itself. No reason to survive here at all, solved anyway by people who simply refused to leave. Bermuda was never rich because of what it had. It became rich because of what its people were willing to build on a rock the rest of the world once called cursed. If this story surprised you, subscribe. There are more places on Earth that shouldn't exist and somehow thrive anyway.